This is Anthem Podcast, episode 1. Graeme, why are we starting a podcast?
Why is Anthem Creative starting a podcast? Well, this has been 3 years in the making. We've been wrestling with whether we should do a podcast for so long. Ultimately, I think we just didn't think the world needed another nonprofit marketing podcast or another fundraising podcast. And while we felt like we had unique perspectives and things to say, it wasn't until right now that we decided, I think this is something we have to do. And so really the catalyst for this is this onslaught of exponential technology coming and the way that it's changing the nature of work for everyone and disrupting industries left, right, and center. We're starting to think about, what does this mean for the nonprofit sector? What does this mean for us as a creative agency, but also what does it mean for the clients and the organizations that we serve? And so we felt like there was a need for a place to have these kinds of conversations where we can explore the impact of exponential technology and the rapid pace and rate of change that's coming. I think that's the most difficult part is, things are changing and advancing so quickly that none of us really know how to navigate this well. And so we really want this podcast to be a place where we can host conversations and wrestle with big topics of how do we navigate a world that none of us have ever experienced before? How do we navigate the pace of change and the rate of change that's coming at us? How do we leverage and properly lean into and use exponential technology in order to advance our missions? And how do we ensure that organizations doing incredible work don't get caught with their head in the sand and get left behind when the mission and the work that they're doing is so vital and so important? And I think ultimately we wanted a forum for us to be able to have these conversations as well and to engage deeply in these topics and think through the implications of what is happening to the world. Because let's face it, there's no playbook. None of us have a playbook. Nobody went to school for how to navigate the changes that are coming right now. And so it's really wanting to just have an open-ended, honest, and raw conversation about, what does this mean for humanity? What does it mean for the nonprofit sector? What does it mean for fundraising? What does it mean for marketing and storytelling and digital? If I can say one thing, fundamentally at the end of the day, our core thesis, after working with hundreds of organizations across every vertical in the nonprofit sector for more than a decade now, and our thesis as we look at where the world is coming and what's trending and what the economy is doing and what technology is doing and how it's reshaping the nature of life and work and everything else, is that the organizations who will thrive in this exponential future are the ones who fundamentally learn how to become more human. And so that's really at the core what this podcast is going to be about. How do you navigate, yes, this exponential wave of technological change that's coming, but how do you do it in such a way that it allows you to become more human as an organization? Because at the end of the day, the organizations that are the most human, I think, are going to be the ones that thrive in the future. There's so much happening. It's happening so quickly, and we don't have all the answers. We certainly don't have a playbook for what this looks like, but we are in the trenches day in, day out, week in, week out, working with lots of different organizations that are navigating the same challenges. And so we have a unique vantage point as an agency that works with nonprofit organizations. We can see patterns and we can identify things that are working over here and that translate over here. And so we're able to really sit at the cross section of what a lot of organizations are wrestling with, the challenges they're facing, but also the things that are working and the things that we're seeing being successful in their campaigns, in their marketing, in their fundraising. And so we want to be a place that can bring trusted voices into the conversation and hopefully be a helpful guide to nonprofit leaders all over, regardless of the work that they're doing.